Yeah, man. You see, you see, the problem is people don't understand the simple fact that you know when the Constitution was written, black people in America, people of African descent, those of African ancestry, however you want to say it, black people, whatever, you know, black people were considered 3/5 a person when the Constitution was written. And there is nothing in American law. You can ask any lawyer today, and this is what sickens me about, the education system and lawyers and all these things because, you know, um, for one to not understand this and for them to not catch that, to have their, bachelor's, master's, doctorate, whatever in political science or in American law, whatever. You can ask any lawyer, and this is what amazes me that there is nothing in American law that acknowledges the other 2/5 of black people. This which would consequently make black people citizens of America. So basically, there is nothing in American law that identifies black people as citizens of America, or even acknowledges the other 2/5 of a person that aren't acknowledged, and them calling us 3/5 a person in the Constitution, and understanding that this is something that's in the Constitution. So this is not just any regular American law. This is American based law, American foundation law. You know, and this is so deep. It's very deep for people to understand this, and it's sickening, as well, because if we don't understand this, we won't understand that in letting this stand in the Constitution, that black people are 3/5 a person still, even in 2014, this is participating, even if we don't think so. This is participating in the dehumanization, the slavery, um, and the complete genocide and war on a people. It's basically written war. You know, and that's why I'm so hard on the churches. That's why I'm so hard on the education system and just everything going on. Because if we don't educate ourselves, we're just being programmed. We have to seek and educate ourselves. Because why I'm so upset with the church, is because we don't stress history enough, and we don't understand history. We don't stress education really. You know, church and education are supposed to be hand in hand. Jesus said, Christ said, "My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge." My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Christ didn't say anything about the devil, that the devil was your worst enemy or anything like that. He specifically, basically said, one's education, basically. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, for ignorance, for not knowing. You know. So for us to not be aware, and for us to not, um, be in um, critically analytical about American law, especially at this time when you have so many things going on, where if the role was reversed, black people would get the chair. Not only would we get life, or would we get death penalties for some of the things that white people are getting away with now. And it totally goes right into what I'm saying. You know, just the simple fact that black people are 3/5 a person to American law basically shows you in you know and that's why I say, there's nothing in American law that acknowledges us as citizens or equal to white people. None of that still, you know, and very important, very important to understand this, because now when you see so many things happening, like the George Zimmerman, Trayvon thing, You know, George Zimmerman, Trayvon thing, and George Zimmerman is not even a white man, and he gets off for killing a child in Florida. You know, now I lived in Florida, you know, for a number of years, but I graduated there. I graduated in Orlando, you know, and there are big old billboards in Florida that tell you, you know, 20, 25 years for a gun crime. So 20, 25 years mandatory for a gun crime. So how can George Zimmerman walk, you know, and get off found not guilty, you know, killed a child, not a black man. Trayvon was not a man, that's a child, you know, killed a child and gets off an unarmed child at that, you know, and gets off. But then yet you have Marissa Alexander, you know this black woman in Florida who fires a warning shot at her husband, doesn't hit anybody, and she's fighting. You know, they're trying to give her 20 to 60 years. You know, so these are the exact things that I'm talking about, man. You know, people need to understand American law, and you know the simple fact that every state's laws are different. You know, and so many other things. Understanding that D.C. is not even a part of America. You know, the simple fact that all of us were taught that the simple fact that all of us were taught that, you know, the founding fathers came here, you know, for religious freedom and fighting against the queen, you know, and all these things, you know, but when you look on the news, you know, but when you look on the news, you have these cats, you know, so many presidents kissing the hand of the queen right in our face, you know, on national television. So, you know, so much to the fact that, you know, all of the states, all of the states that have "new" in front of their names, you know, New Hampshire or even New England, you know, New York, you know, all of these new, you know, these new states, because the old ones are back in London, you know, and the original ones are back in London and back in Europe and England. You understand? So, um, when you look at the actual events of history, you look at the actual events of history, you see that, you know, contrary to what they put in the history books, that they came here for religious freedom and fighting against the queen. You know, it was really war. What they did to the Native Americans, and what they did to the African Americans that were already here, and what they did to those that they brought here. You know, it's basically war what they did, and that's genocide what they did. You know, to wipe out the Native Americans, and you know, we need to understand slavery as the epitome of war. Slavery is the apex of war. Slavery is apocalypto. You know, if you're familiar with the movie Apocalypto, um, slavery is what you do to a people after you've conquered them, and you take the remaining ones after you conquer the people as human cattle. You take them as human cattle, and that's what Africans in America are today, basically. You know, human cattle, even from, you know, even from the finest athletes to, you know, these rap stars. You know, whoever you want to, you know, they're all controlled cash cows. You know, they're three C's. You know, they're all controlled cash cows, and if any of them step out of line, then, you know, they're, you know, whatever can happen. You know, if we're not together, but we must understand the whole mechanism of control that has been placed upon us, and why, you know, um, if we don't understand history, and that's why I say I'm so big on history, because if we don't understand history and American law as well, you know, American law as well, then, you know, we won't be able to get the elementary techniques of balancing ourselves as a race and getting ourselves back, because history is just like your life. You know, history, your life is your history. You know, that's why I say history is just like your life. Your life is your history. You know, and when you know, and your life is your history. So, you know, it's just like we all know that, you know, they say the word history comes from his story or whatever, but you know, it's mainly about, you know, if you want to really kill a man, if you really want to kill a man, then you don't worry about the body. You bury his story. You understand? You bury his story. You know, and and just imagine, you know, if heaven forbid when you pass,